analytically, is the best Biden ever.
Marijuana, pot, grass, whatever you want to call it, is probably the most dangerous drug in the United States. Dangerous drug.
It is clear, however, that if left unchecked, Saddam Hussein will continue to increase his capacity to wage biological and chemical warfare and will keep trying to develop nuclear weapons.
Being a pro-war pundit means you never have to say you're sorry.
William Crystal led the march to Baghdad behind a battery of Washington microphones. He has not responded to any of our requests for an interview, but he still shows up on TV as an expert.
He's got to begin to show progress in 3, 4, 5 months once the U.S. troops get in.
The Times liberal hawk Thomas Friedman also said no.
With the media. We're not trying to show you propaganda. We're just showing you what is. We're just showing you what is.
Citizens of the internet, we're back for another episode of the Almost Daily Show. I hope you dig my new theme music. That's a beat that I pulled out of my archives. I think I put it together a little while ago, but it's neither here nor there. There's a lot of stuff to talk about today. Just so much great news, and I've got a lot of incredible footage for you. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time today. First and foremost, I wanted to talk about Elon Musk and his Nazi salute. That was kind of the banner cover story, because I saw this as it happened and I wanted to share my thoughts on it, because the first thing I thought is, oh, fuck. There's going to be 6 weeks of news coverage now about Elon Musk doing a Nazi salute, and that's exactly what he wanted to happen. So let me start by let's just show the actual footage of because I'm not going to share a screenshot. I'm going to show you the worst possible clip of this salute that Elon did here. Let's watch. So this is from the account Evan Loves Wharf. Let me just rewind that. God knows why this guy comes up in my For You feed, but he does. I'm sure he's some kind of a paid Democratic operative, but this is what he put together. Footage of one of the FBI funded fake Nazis with, cover their face covered so you can't see who they are ever because they're feds. And then him doing the same thing as Elon Musk here. So my initial response to this was this, clown takes a break from supporting Biden and Harris, who provided unending support for Israel for the actual real-life slaughter of women and children in Gaza, to be mad about Elon Musk doing a Hitler salute that harmed 0 people. And that was kind of the perspective I wanted to add to this, because I don't think that he didn't do it. There's a lot of people trying to like gloss over it like it was autism or something. No, he did that on purpose. There's no doubt. Watch him. He does it with such conviction. He didn't accidentally do that. That's not an accident. He did that on purpose. And my take is he did it intentionally, not because he's actually a Nazi, but because he knows that the fucking press will go apeshit with coverage on it. And they did. Just like, oh, well, is he a Nazi? And again, I think this is a good conversation point, because it's this discussion has come up a lot, and there are people that I actually respect that buy into this garbage, and I think this is allow me to editorialize a little bit here. This is my take on why Elon Musk did this, to show how unserious the debate about Nazis in the press is, because it's one of those things. It's like saying the R word, right? It's like a lot of people just do it because they know that it's going to push people's buttons and it's going to upset people. And that's look at Elon Musk's history as a person, as a human being, the kind of stuff that he does, the kind of stuff he tweets. Remember when he tweeted some stuff about Bill Gates being fat? Like he is a troll. He's an open troll. So the incoming Trump administration, the first thing he does, there's all this leading up to the election, right? Remember when they put out a thing about like he wants Hitler's generals and all this stuff. Oh, they tried to frame the Madison Square Garden rally, Trump's Madison Square Garden rally, as like a Nazi event and stuff. So I think he's just playing into that. He knows how sensitive the press is and how easy it's going to be to get them to knee jerk and do 6 weeks of reporting on how he's a Nazi because he went like that at the microphone, and just to watch the wave of dipshittery that, came in the wake of this action, and the hours and hours of ink that will be spilled and the airtime that will be spent discussing this. I mean, I'm doing it right now. I'm not innocent here. And that's a good, on that note, we should probably cut out of here. But I just wanted to speak on this just a little bit because Elon Musk is a troll. He did this. The idea that he is a secret Nazi is every bit as stupid as the idea that it was autism and he was just really set in his heart. No, he did this on purpose. He did that with way too much conviction for it not to be intentional, And also, if you think Elon Musk is a Nazi, you're a fucking moron. Look around. And this is the point I want to make to people, in my circle on the left or in the fucking, talk space, the political talk space. Unless someone does something that is visibly racist towards people, you don't get to call them a Nazi until Elon Musk is goose stepping through the streets with jackbooted thugs. Okay, then you can call him a Nazi. But that term gets thrown around so much, and even just for doing a troll, yes, that's a complete Nazi, salute that he did. But it's also who did it hurt? Who what ethnic group was hurt by Elon Musk taking that action on a stage? None. And so the people that are the most upset and clutching their pearls the hardest over this are the same people who, were trying to tell you to vote for Biden and Harris a couple months ago because Trump's going to be worse for Gaza. And look how that turned out, So let's just stop with the idiocy on this stuff. And that's all I'm going to say about Elon Musk's fucking Nazi salute that set the internet on fire and the media on fire like he wanted it to. Now imagine how many other things are happening right now that the collective isn't paying attention to because we're talking about this troll nonsense. Anyway, let's talk about Drake's UMG lawsuit because this is one of my best tweets, or one of my best performing tweets recently was in relation to this because I don't know if you've been following this at all, but Drake filed a lawsuit against Universal Music Group over Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us. And so this was the kind of the tweet that I wanted to show you that kind of set it all off, right? But this is from hold on a second. Okay. So this is from Justin Hunt, the company man. He does a really great hip hop discussion show. He's a big rap guy, and he tweeted out this screenshot from Drake's team. According to Drake's lawsuit, Kendrick Lamar grew up in Oakland. It's All Happening is how he kind of introduces his show. So I said, LOL, Drake lost a beef and called the cops. And, I got, as you can see, I got over 50 retweets and 1.2K likes on that tweet. So the story continues, though, and this is where it gets real interesting and politically related. So there's a point where Drake alleges that Not Like Us is anti-Semitic. And so I said, wow, Drake's going full ADL on Kendrick, Anti-Defamation League. So just to give you a little bit more insight here as to what's going on. So this is a line from the actual lawsuit that Justin pulled out. It says, furthering the recording's refrain that Drake is not like us, the recording alludes to Drake's Jewish heritage, saying that Drake is not a colleague, but a fucking colonizer. So he's using the anti-Semitic shit in this lawsuit towards Kendrick Lamar. And it's like, I don't know who's advising Drake or if this is like just, how he really is in real life, but like who thought it was a good idea to call the cops when you lost a rap beat? Like, Drake's out there trying to argue that he's really hood and he's like really a legitimate fucking, hip hop guy. And he's out there calling Kendrick Lamar an anti-Semite, like that as in defense for a song that just kind of blew him away in the whole beef process. Like that's the opposite. That's the opposite kind of, I think, view that Drake wants to project of himself, that Drake wants to project to the public right now. It's almost like he's just doing exactly what Kendrick said he was. It's kind of like, wow, Kendrick was way more accurate about this guy than we thought. And I said when the whole beef thing started, the difference between Kendrick and Drake is Kendrick is a black man who grew up in Compton, California, and Drake is a Canadian actor. So like that right there kind of sums it up. However, I mean, that doesn't mean, Drake shouldn't have access to hip hop culture and all that kind of stuff. Like Canadians can rap too. There's a lot of good Canadian artists, a ton. So I don't think that, but then he just continues down this road of ridiculousness into this like level of like, wow, you're an anti-Semite because you called me a colonizer in your song. Like it doesn't get any more spineless or less credible than that. Like the guy is literally like a Karen in the fucking alley going like, I'm calling the police on you guys smoking blunts in the alley behind my house. That's how Drake looks right now. So I'm going to play a little bit of this Anthony Fantano, who, like him or not, he has a lot of good commentary, and he kind of goes into the weeds a little more.
Document. UMG has already responded to Drake's lawsuit publicly.
So this is great because he kind of goes through. Initially, Drake filed a complaint or something like that. I don't know the legal logistics, but initially it was some kind of like a complaint, and now it's an actual suit. And so UMG actually responded to the lawsuit and
saying that not only are these claims untrue, but the notion we would seek to harm the reputation of any artist, let alone Drake, is illogical. We have invested massively in his music, and our employees around the world have worked tirelessly for many years to help him achieve historic commercial and personal financial success throughout his career.
Yeah, so Drake and Kendrick are both on the same label. They're both on UMG, which first of all is kind of says something about the culture of our media. These guys who are, it's pro wrestling, obviously, but these guys, two of the biggest, arguably, some of the biggest pop stars of the last year, are both on the same record label.
Drake has intentionally and successfully used UMG to distribute his music and poetry, to engage in conventionally outrageous back and forth rap battles, to express his feelings about other artists. He now seeks to weaponize the legal process to silence an artist's creative expression.
Yeah, that's so the beef started with, Kendrick may have said some like sneak diss or veiled comment in a song with like 21 Savage or what. I think it was Metro Boomin song or something that Kendrick said there's not just Big Three, there's Big Me or some shit like that, and that triggered Drake. But Drake dissed him too. Drake called him like a wife beater, and like, so he's guilty of the same crimes, the defamation shit. It's a fucking rap beef. Again, it'd be like if someone beat your ass and you called the cops on them, after you like tried to fuck their girlfriend or something. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the weirdest
and to seek damages from UMG for distributing that artist's music. We have not and do not engage in defamation against any individual. At the same time, we will vigorously defend this litigation to protect our people and our reputation, as well as any artist who might directly or indirectly become a frivolous litigation target for having done nothing more than write a song. Wow. Drake kind of, getting responded to harshly in another rap battle.
Kind of stepped in it.
Legally speaking, from UMG, pointing out very quickly the hypocrisy that, this guy talks about and shades other people with his music. And this is a pretty big reminder of the hellscape we will be living in if Drake somehow wins this lawsuit or makes some kind of legal dent with it. Because if that happens, what are we supposed to do past this point vis-a-vis, I don't know, diss tracks or any songs that might be about another person and could be unflattering on some level? Will rappers have to clear every diss song they write with a lawyer just to sort of see if it passes muster? Will all of Taylor Swift's exes be able to take her to task legally for things said about them on any number of tracks? The way Drake is expecting the world to just manipulate the rules to his benefit in this instance, I don't really know what to label it other than insanity, especially given that
he's like a spoiled child. He's like, hey, I was the #1 pop star. You can't say bad stuff about me. I'm gonna sue you.
That it's not like you were just sitting there doing nothing. And then Kendrick Lamar just said you were a PDF file out of the blue, out of nowhere.
I love that coded PDF file is code for, what Epstein was into.
No reason whatsoever. You were in a rap battle, man. You were in a multi-track beef. Cue that one Drake clip where he's like, I study rap battles for a living, man. I study rap battles.
I study rap battles for a living.
Yeah, you study rap battles, and yet you didn't see this coming, especially given...
You must have flunked out of that class, though, son. Like, you're not studying very well.
That on the AI track, you literally dared Kendrick to bring that topic up in the lyrics of the track. And yet Drake's like, why would he do this? Why would this happen? But anyway, held within Drake's multi-page lawsuit over here, there are some interesting claims and observations made. Page 3 kind of breaks down the intentions of the song like we're looking at a Rap Genius annotation, but for a court. The lyrics repeatedly accuse Drake of engaging in criminal acts, including by calling him a certified Pedialyte drinker and a predator who needs to be
Pedialyte drinker. Yeah, I thought I would clip Fantano here because he actually goes into the suit, like the actual text of the lawsuit. So we don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but just listen to some of the details.
Placed on Neighborhood Watch. The image was designed to reinforce, and in fact reinforces, that accusation by depicting Drake's actual Toronto house covered in the icons that were known to be used by law enforcement, as well as public safety applications like Citizen, to identify child offenders' residences online. The next page here alleges that all of this damage to...
It's a diss track. Can you imagine if Joe Rogan sued The View for saying that he likes dragons or something the other day? That's how petty this is. Just imagine if remember when The View said Joe Rogan thinks dragons are real or something, and he just kind of laughed about it and made fun of it. But imagine if he went and sued The View for defamation because of that. You said I believe in dragons and I really don't.
Drake's reputation is once again UMG's fault, essentially, saying that they waged an unrelenting campaign to spread the recording, image and video, together the defamatory material as widely as possible. With
let's stop there. They alleged to spread the recording as wide as possible. Isn't that what a record label does? That's their job, is to take your music and get it as much play as possible.
is online. The next page here alleges that all of this damage to Drake's reputation is once again UMG's fault, essentially, saying that they waged an unrelenting campaign to spread the recording, image and video together.
They waged an unrelenting campaign to spread the recording. In other words, they did their job as a record label.
Defamatory material as widely as possible, with like no real notes made here of any. Here at line 58. Within the first minute, the recording identifies Drake by name and states that Lamar has heard that Drake has a predilection for underage women. Say, Drake, I heard you like 'em young. The next line is a thinly veiled threat that Drake should be careful that he never ends up in prison, a place where child predators are notoriously the target.
Yes. Like we know all this stuff. I mean, they have to break it down from the lawsuit, but okay.
It's of violence. In this B section around line 68, this is where Drake and his team start denying the claims, which, you know, I will say, as crazy as it is to read it in this lawsuit, he does a more effective job of it here than he did on the Heart Part 6, because I guess, yes, in fact, it is true. Drake is on no such types of, you know, these lists. Oh, God, they're even going into the music video. The video also includes allusions to Drake's OVO brand, which is represented by an owl in combination with the lyrics wop, 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 dot, fuck 'em up. The video shows Lamar beating an owl-shaped pinata with a bat. During this scene, a caption appears at the bottom of the video that states, disclaimer, no OVOs were harmed during the making of this video. I mean, it seems you're just repeating them with, you know, no pushback. It must be true. Maybe no OVOs were in fact harmed. Oh no, on line 118, he's angry about the pop out. He's angry about the pop out show. Oh no, the record label allowed a song that they licensed to be played publicly. That's crazy. Oh my God, why would a record label do that? Just like they did every Drake song to ever exist where he dissed somebody else. This is crazy. There's no precedent for this. Why on earth? Oh no, this is damning over here at 119. UMG subsequently made the live performance of the recording available to be played on the radio, and radio stations played it. Oh no, not the radio stations. No, oh my God, no. Oh no, the radio stations played it. Oh my God. And here it is at 127 under this D section, first section of that. UMG caused third parties to fake streams in bold lettering. That is the...
So this is the part that's interesting, the fake streams thing, because I'm sure that labels do things to like inflate streams, especially for artists that need it. I don't think Kendrick Lamar needed fake streams, but I don't doubt that they do this. But he goes into a little bit. There's no evidence either. It's just like a quote unquote whistleblower
claim, which it brings up.
The whistleblower is what's that guy, DJ Academics, or that dude that like rides Drake's dick all day.
Bots says artificially inflate the spread of the recording on Spotify. It explains what bots are, but it doesn't really offer any proof of that. Like, what are you citing? What information do you have that this is true? There is allegedly a whistleblower, but the
Okay, so in closing here, I just want to say that I think this lawsuit and all this kind of the way that they're being so petty and going into this, like the anti-Semitism accusations and stuff, to me, it's proof that that song kind of fucked up Drake's career, like in a big way, because I don't know that he would be doing this. He would be doing this if it was just kind of like something that came and went and no one cared about it. It seems like, based on, you know, the way he's reacting at this point, that song, Not Like Us, like really messed up his career. And I mean, if you're going to go call the cops and level claims of anti-Semitism after you lost a rap battle, maybe you don't deserve that career. You know, maybe Kendrick did him a favor, did the world a favor. Anyway, let me check out the comments real quick. We got Willie in the comments. What up, Willie? He's got back to Elon Musk here. He's got a right to do it, but it's not a good look when people are just waiting to call someone. Yeah, exactly. But that's why he did it, is what I'm saying. He knew, he knows that people think Trump is a Nazi, and there's all these accusations that with Elon Musk too, he's gotten it worse than Trump recently because of the way that he's commented on European politics, about the migrants in Europe and stuff. And it's like, that is a whole other topic of discussion that I'm not well versed enough in to really comment on. Maybe there's someone in the audience that's European that could maybe like educate me a little bit more on what's going on in Europe. But it seems to me, before we move on from the comments, it seems to me a lot of the politics in Europe are almost like Orwellian manufactured to mirror the politics of the US. It does seem like you look at like what's going on in Eastern Europe, right, with the energy situation and how, prior to the war in Eastern Europe that the US is involved in, Germany was getting cheap energy from another bigger Eastern European country who is fighting that smaller European country. And so that, it's pretty evident that a lot of that tension was brought on by moneyed interests that want to sell energy, because as soon as that broke out, suddenly that big country that was selling Germany cheap energy is not selling Germany cheap energy anymore. Now the United States steps in and we're selling Germany the energy. So you get what I'm saying, right? Like it just seems like all this stuff has, like the stuff that's going on in Europe, it just seems like it's kind of like it's got the US's hands in it, like the stuff that's going on in Britain. It seems like our the US, I guess the US, our kind of talent, our core talent in the world is manufacturing a narrative or like creating a reality, and we did it through movies and television before, but now with the internet, it's like hyper maximized because now, first of all, we have access to every single fucking person who has a smartphone through the internet. And we can customize propaganda around their algorithm and show them things that they like. So it's a weird time for that kind of thing. So anyway, point being, I don't know shit about what's going on in Europe, and someone should educate me a little more on what's going on there. So let's move on from Drake's stupid ass lawsuit and anti-Semitism claims to something a little more pertinent. And so I wanted to talk about the new Trump era that's beginning, because this is the kind of thing that I knew we were going to see. And these consultants, this guy, Rick Wilson, for example, this guy is a fucking massive grifter. This guy is a neocon fundraiser consultant type guy who basically is grifting off liberals. And he would have said this no matter what, but we kind of expected if Kamala lost, if for these people to blame the left, right? And so here's this absolute piece of human waste, Rick Wilson, who became a Democrat when the money dried up for hucksters like him on the right, and the MAGA thing started. People kind of like rejected these neocons from the party. You had him come over. So here he is saying, "Congrats, Jill Stein voters in Dearborn. You showed us." And this is this ACYN fucking liberal blowjob account. "Trump on Gaza. It has to be rebuilt in a different way. Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location on the sea. The best weather. Some beautiful things could be done with it." Yeah, that was kind of always the plan, whether Trump was in there or not. At least he fucking stopped the goddamn or put his foot down with Israel, like showed some spine. That's all anyone had to do to get like a pat on the back here. And that's what he did. So my response to this, I think, was another one of my banger tweets of the last couple days. But I said, yes, we did. Your senile neocon vessel and empty-headed DEI hire lost the election, and now you're on Twitter pretending to care about Gaza. And if you listen to me in the build up to the election, one of the things that I said, one of the justifications I gave for being kind of like pro Trump, or being like not voting for the Democrats, basically like voting for Jill Stein, knowing that Trump was going to win if you don't, or just for me, just flat out voting for Trump. Like I even said at one point, I didn't vote this cycle, but I would have voted for Trump. So that said, this is kind of my response to that, because these people are fucking pathetic, and they're going to, there's this Lawrence O'Donnell clip that I should have dug out. I lost some of my archive at the end of the year, but you've seen it 1,000 times, so I don't need to play. But he says, if you want to pull the party that's closest to the way you're thinking, you must show them you're capable of not voting for them. They don't have to listen to you. And he says, I've been in the Democratic Party. They don't have to listen to anything on the left because the left has nowhere to go. Well, after years of shitting on the left, the Democratic Party should not be surprised that they didn't vote for them. Like I haven't voted for the Democrats since, God, I voted for Hillary, actually. I regret it. Don't hate me. I know a lot of you probably did, and you do regret it as well. But I did. I bought it. I bought the propaganda in 2015. I thought Trump was like a white supremacist. I really believed it, I think the moment, I think it was people like Matt Taibbi and Aaron Matei and Glenn Greenwald who really brought me around to reality. Once I started realizing, wait a minute, the president he's a secret Russian and we just can't find the evidence to get him out of there. Like, that seems kind of odd. That was the point where I was like, okay, wait a minute. Like, critical thinking kicked in, and I was like, okay, if there was any hard evidence whatsoever that this guy was like a foreign asset and he got into the presidency, like he would have been gone like a long time ago, And so anyway, point being, they're all full of shit, and Trump winning did exactly what I had hoped it would do, and bring the dumb fuck liberal class around to being anti-war again. Now suddenly cunts like Rick Wilson care about Gaza. Oh, see, look, Trump's not going to do anything on Gaza. Yeah, you didn't give a shit about Gaza before the election. Now you do, because you think you can use it to dunk on people who didn't vote for your shit candidate. Go fuck yourself, Rick Wilson. Jesus Christ, man. I hate people like that. So then you have, the real left here. Jeremy Lafredo tweeted out this Photoshop of Joe Biden. One last selfie for the road, guys. One last selfie. And so someone kind of cut them out and photoshopped Gaza behind them as a reminder of their legacy. Same thing with Antony Blinken here. Him and his family, like, oh, we have such a cute family, even though we enabled the slaughter of many other people's families. Aren't we great? And I don't advocate for, personal attacks, physically against Tony Blinken or his family. That's not cool. No one should ever do that. But these guys deserve to just be made fun of and booed in the public square incessantly and repeatedly. That's what they deserve. This guy should never go out in public again without being completely just, mocked and ridiculed for what his legacy is, frankly. So I have to say, based on the current, rubber meeting the road of the Trump administration so far, I'm very happy with what I've seen. And there's a lot of people in my circle that are already dunking on MAGA, like, oh, MAGA, look, oh, Trump's got this guy or this guy, believing the hype in the media, the same media that tried to convince you that Joe Biden was fit enough to be president. And my take on that has just been, hey, let's wait and see. Okay. And I will give myself a little bit of praise for that wait and see approach, because I think that the evidence is kind of coming out to our favor. So to give you kind of just you know, one point is and I didn't clip this, but Ross Ulbricht, the guy from Silk Road, was pardoned, like full pardon from Trump. And that was something that he promised to the libertarian people when he went to that. And this is so wild. It's like Trump is such an interesting political character, because he's actually doing the things you're not supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, for the last 30 or 20 years, 20, 30, 50 years, whatever, since JFK, really, the game in politics has been, you just know that these people are lying and you're not going to get any of the things that you asked for once they get into office. But in the case of Donald Trump, he's actually seems to be delivering on a lot of the stuff that he's promised already. The Ross Ulbricht thing is a great example of that. And Kim Iverson did a report on it, and she said that, hey, you know, he didn't do it. He said he was going to do it on day one. He didn't do it. He didn't do it on day one, but he did actually full pardon Ross Ulbricht. And she was saying initially he was just going to commute Ross's sentence, but he gave the guy a full pardon. So that's a huge deal. So this is another thing I absolutely fucking loved. And I'm not a huge fan of Libs of TikTok, but I follow her just to see, you know, she's got some good stuff going on too. But this is on his first day, Trump is expected to strip the security clearance of the 51 intel agents who lied about the Hunter Biden laptop before the 2020 election. Hell yes. Hell yes. And so I don't know that your boy John Bolton is on this list, but this is just my absolute favorite thing of the Trump administration so far, if this is true, which I'm pretty sure it is. But breaking: John Bolton's security clearance has just been revoked. President Trump ordered it removed. And watching John Bolton panic about Trump on CNN was one of the highlights of, you know, the media last year. So I'm just going to replay real quick this clip of him on CNN right before the election talking about Tulsi Gabbard.
That you just mentioned. We saw the first cabinet pick for Trump withdraw yesterday. Matt Gaetz said his nomination was becoming a distraction.
So they're like, you know, this is actually, this is after Trump got elected. Bolton is trying to like sink his nominees now. They're like, okay, well, we couldn't stop him from getting elected. We called him a Nazi. We called him a threat to democracy and all that stuff before the election. But now I can just try to sink his nominees. And this is why I really hope Tulsi Gabbard gets
tweeted after that, quote, "One down, more to follow." Do you think that there are other names that are going to withdraw that have been chosen by Donald Trump, and why?
Or that will be defeated on the floor of the Senate. There are a lot of competitors to see who's as bad as Gaetz, who actually turned out to be the worst cabinet nominee in history. Tulsi Gabbard's now number 2. But I put the two of them in a class by themselves. There are others, Pete Hegseth for defense, who have come under fire. Tulsi Gabbard's threat to our national security really is a completely different level. And I think,
keep in mind, Tulsi Gabbard is a veteran who served in the military and in Congress. What is this? This guy has been an appointee to the Bush administration and the Trump administration. Yosemite Sam Cracker John.
I think now that Gaetz has taken himself out of the race for AG, I think enormous amounts of attention have to be directed at Gabbard.
Would you vote?
Yeah, because she will not continue my bullshit. So this was just absolutely a beautiful thing to see. And, you know, I hope that this isn't some kind of false report. I hope that this is real. I hope that John Bolton really got you know, his security denied. So I want to talk about another thing now, and that is the kind of like vilification and the slandering of Trump voters, because Trump voters are actually a lot smarter for the most part than they get credit for. They're way more in tune with, and this is something that, both Jimmy Dore and Do Dissidents, Keaton and Russell have kind of pointed out as well. They have said, I've seen Russell on multiple occasions say that when he talks to the MAGA people, they'll at least engage for the most part. And then, they have what they call the cowbell left, because when they went to the Trump, prosecution and Russell asked the guy if George Bush should be prosecuted, he just banged the cowbell louder and went, get out of here. So it's these kind of characterizations. Again, I go back to the media bias, like with Tulsi Gabbard, for example. It's like right there, Bolton was talking about Tulsi Gabbard and how she's the worst pick. Well, it recently came out that she said she was okay with like Section 702, some of the warrantless spying shit in the press, and a lot of people immediately jumped on that. See, she's a piece of shit, just like all of them. They're all pieces of shit. And it's like, look, I understand the healthy skepticism. You should have a healthy sense of fucking skepticism for all of this stuff. By the same token, you also have to consider the source, right? Like the people that run these stories want you to hate Tulsi Gabbard. They want her fucking not to get through. They want to generate enough ill will that there is no support for her whatsoever, and she does not get through. And you see a guy like John Bolton saying that Tulsi Gabbard is the worst possible nominee makes it crystal clear that that is the kind of person that she should get through, that she needs to be confirmed. So I would take that up as a cause. Like I don't know how close that is, but I would say I want to make fucking sure that Tulsi Gabbard gets confirmed for that position, because John Bolton is so scared shitless that she's going to get that position that, he's going on CNN and pretending like it's a threat to democracy. And we all know what a threat to democracy actually means from these CUNTs, don't we? I'm just going to play this clip again just because I think it's a salient clip. Watch this.
Fail. It might be the end of American bureaucracy.
Our bureaucracy really is in fundamental peril.
The foundations of American bureaucracy under attack. They want to destroy our bureaucracy.
We are a bureaucracy in danger.
We're watching an election where people are on the ballot openly advocating the end of bureaucracy.
That's what Republicans are doing, attacking bureaucracy, attempting to destroy bureaucracy, and they're doing it with glee.
This is the end of bureaucracy in America.
When will America stop sleepwalking towards the end of bureaucracy?
Right. When will they? So I bring all this up because this is the characterization of the typical Trump voter by these kind of like brunch liberals, if you could call them that. These are just dumb rednecks, as if I don't know anyone in MAGA who is even close to believing what this cartoon is presenting here. It's like red meat for smug liberal cunts, basically. Now that them trans can't use the bathroom, eggs is gonna be cheap. Like who believes that at all? The only people that believe this kind of garbage are dumb fucking liberals who live in a walled-in world where they have their own views reflected back at them. This is, again, it's like they don't understand that this is why they lost the election too. There was a whole bit where MSNBC said white rural voters are a threat to democracy. Imagine replacing white rural voters in that report, and I've played the fucking clip a million times, but imagine replacing that group, that interest group or that demographic, white rural voters, with any other demographic. Jewish voters are a threat to democracy. Imagine if MSNBC did a report that was like, Jewish voters are a threat to, or black voters are a threat to democracy. People would fucking lose their minds. But because it's white fucking rural voters that you can fucking denigrate as white trash, white supremacist, racist, whatever you need to make them the fucking other, the evil, then it's okay. But again, like, imagine that. That keeps playing in my head that white rural voters are a threat. White voters are a threat to democracy. Like, put any other interest group in that fucking report, and it's the most ever seen in your goddamn life, the most smug, condescending nonsense you've ever seen, and this continues. This is the type of people that these guys are. This is how, like, what this really shows more than anything is how dumb the non-Trump voters are, the people that are still scared of him. So look at this. This guy's like, they'll find out real soon. Stop helping Ukraine so we can take care of our own. And they have this guy, will you lower the price of eggs? We're invading Canada, Greenland, and Panama. Oh, how fucking stupid do you have to be for this to be funny? Because no one thinks Trump is invading Greenland or invading Panama or invading Canada. He's a blustery talker. So this is the other thing I think really upsets people about Donald Trump in politics, right? Is that he's not a politician. He's a fucking salesperson. When you're a salesperson, you start a negotiation in the most extreme place. It's like what I've always said about defund the police, because a lot of people, that upsets them. Like, how dare you defund the police? No, like, you're not actually ever going to fucking defund the police. But that's where you start the argument, because then you actually get something. And it's like, that's why Trump starts the argument with like, oh, we're going to make Canada the 51st state. Like, what the fuck? Who says that? Someone in sales says that. Okay, we're not really going to make it 51st state Canada. What we're really going to do is work out a trade deal with you that makes more sense for us. So this is the shit that, like, these the people clutching their pearls over Elon Musk's Nazi salute will never fucking understand. These are salespeople. These are media acolytes. These are people who know how to wag the fucking dog, which is what Elon Musk is doing for some reason with his Nazi salute. But, and these people, the thing I love the most about these cunts is they think they're the smart ones, like, and the election kind of just proved that that's not the case. We're going to get into this in a minute with Malibu Kyle Kulinski. But it really upsets me that the liberal class are the people who fucking, think that try to act like they're these, brilliant motherfucking people, and that Trump voters are the dumb ones, So just to kind of hammer this home, I want to show you, I had this report I was supposed to do on the flagship episode of the Almost Daily Show here. But again, all the fucking, leftist people who have been dunking on MAGA and have rightly cited Trump's kind of aggressive nature towards China. I want you to read this or listen to this article with me, because this guy was at the inauguration with JD Vance. Who is Han Zheng, the senior Chinese official attending Trump's inauguration? This should give you some hope that we're not, like, the shit that Trump says about he wants to be a uniter and a peace president is legit. So check this out. And this is from January 20th, so Monday. And I just want to educate you on how stupid Trump voters really are. Hong Kong, Chinese leader Xi Jinping may not have personally accepted U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's invitation to his inauguration, but Beijing has taken the rare step of dispatching a top official to join the swearing-in ceremony in Washington. Chinese Vice President Han Zheng is expected to attend Monday's inauguration after meeting incoming U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance Sunday in a trip observers say is significant but potentially risky goodwill gesture as Beijing looks to avert major friction with Trump and his incoming cabinet of China hawks. While Han is the most senior Chinese official to attend a U.S. inauguration, his position, of vice president is largely symbolic within China's political system. True authority lies with the ruling Communist Party's powerful, Politburo Standing Committee, from which Han retired in 2022. Well, I mean, how much power does JD Vance really have, or Dick Cheney or Joe Biden, for example? But sending a high-profile official and one who has previously represented Xi at international events, including the coronation of Britain's King Charles III, signals Beijing's interest in a reset of fraught relations between the U.S. and China, observers say. Han used the visit to meet with members of the American business community, including Tesla CEO and close Trump associate Elon Musk, according to Chinese state agency Xinhua. Musk is widely thought. Forgive me, Chinese people. I'm not a. I know. I have a large Chinese demographic in my viewing audience, but I'm not the best at pronouncing Chinese words. Forgive me. Musk is widely thought to be seen by Beijing as more sympathetic to its interests than others in Trump's orbit. Well, they just found out he's a Nazi. I mean, who knows what he wants to do? He probably just wants to put them all in camps. So moving on. In his meeting with Musk, Han called on American companies, including Tesla, to promote U.S.-China trade relations. Xinhua reported. Tesla operates its largest manufacturing plant outside the United States in Shanghai. Musk had yet to confirm the meeting at the time of the Chinese report. Han's arrival in the U.S. follows a phone call between Xi and Trump Friday, where the Chinese leader congratulated Trump on his re-election and called for a new start in relations. We both attach great importance to our interactions, both hope for a good start of the China-U.S. relationship during the new U.S. presidency, and are willing to secure greater progress in China-U.S. relations from a new starting point, Xi told Trump in the call, according to a readout from the Chinese Foreign Ministry. Trump confirmed on his social media platform, Truth Social, that he had a very good phone call with Xi, and they discussed subjects including trade, fentanyl, and Chinese-owned social media app TikTok. So Trump already talked to Xi, when he signed that executive order to unban TikTok. So he's already, he was already on the phone with them. And again, it's like this is the projection of liberals, like Trump voters are just dumb rednecks. The guy is already gotten hostages out on both sides for Palestinian and Israelis, and smooth things over with China. He's about to end the Ukraine war. I mean, what's next? Let's give the guy a year or two to see what happens. I mean, I think you might be pleasantly surprised. I already have been. So I'm not willing to just throw my hands up and go, well, it wasn't a Democrat, so it's not going to be good. No, I've been voting for Democrats since I could vote, and not a fucking thing has changed. So just to see some things change, even if I don't agree with everything that Trump's doing, and I don't agree with some of the more religious right aspects of the Republican Party or some of the more Zionist aspects, dude, you have those same aspects in the Democratic Party now. Even worse, to a worse degree, because they fucking shield themselves with the rainbow flag and act like they're, morally superior to the other people, when, I really think that just the general psyche on, gay marriage and stuff has come around. And we can get into, in a later episode, the whole discussion about the gender thing. There are a lot of people that were upset about that. We're going to get into Trump's inauguration speech here right now. So I didn't want to watch the whole inauguration speech. So I kind of went to one of my favorite people for the recap, and that is Candace Owens. And Candace is just, again, I've said this multiple times. I don't always agree with everything she says, but I love her show. There's something about her style and the way that she kind of snaps at things. I just love Candace Owens. I'm not, Candace, if you're out there, call me. But anyway, let's watch some of these clips, because I think her coverage of this, she has a couple little asides that are really good, and so I want to talk about some
Vance and Jay.
So this is her first kind of talking about this is actually really interesting. He's kind of talking about this whole circle of tech guys that's surrounding Trump now, and start Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Zuckerberg now. And she brings up some great points about Zuckerberg. And I think I went into this thing, and we'll go through some of this after we watch this. But there's an article about how Zuckerberg kind of worked to prevent Trump from becoming president initially. So I think, probably the core of this segment here is going to be kind of like the underlying thing is the Trump Zuckerberg dynamic. But I do want to touch on some of the things that Trump said in this speech. And so let's listen.
JD Vance that were seated next to them, Barron Trump towering over everyone. He seems like he's just fantastic. Like, obviously, Melania has kept him very close to her chest throughout all of these years and really protected him. And he seems to be stepping into his own. But at this church, like I said, you had Elon Musk, who has become something of a Mar-a-Lago groupie. I don't know how I feel about that. You had Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. I'm not as bothered by that. I don't know if you guys agree with me, and you can cut back to the feed so they can keep watching what's happening live. I don't know if you guys agree with me about Jeff Bezos, but he's the billionaire that bothers me the least. And I don't know why that is. It's weird. I think because his story just registers more true to me. Like, he was this nerdy techie guy, and then he hit it big with Amazon, made tons of money, and then decided that he wanted to go live out all of his nerd fantasies. And like, he left his wife and didn't even fight her in court. She's like, I want half. It's going to be the biggest divorce settlement ever. He's like, yeah, I have more money than I could possibly spend. Take everything. And didn't fight her, gave her everything, and then goes and dates a blow up doll. I don't know. I just find that to be like an 8.
That's why I love Candace Owens. Just that, like, she's like, I think goes and dates a blow up doll. And if you saw the photos, what's her name? Lauren Sanchez. You'll see footage of her in this, but Bezos's girlfriend, she's hot, She's obviously like plastic surgeryed up, and she's got the girls on full display. There was a picture of Zuckerberg kind of like gawking at them, but how can you blame the guy? Like, she's got him up, she's got him out. She got the girls out.
These relatable story, and he doesn't seem to be over inserting himself. There we have Ivanka Trump walking in right now, by the way. I'm just going to speak through the things that are happening in case people are on audio. Ivanka Trump is walking in, similarly wearing a hat. I'm glad we're bringing back that culture. Behind her is Tiffany Trump, Eric Trump, Donald Trump. So all the children are walking in at this moment at the U.S. Capitol. I am unsure of who is leading them, actually. If you know, Mark, just let me know in my ear.
I promise there's some good shit in here. Hold on a second.
Bringing up the back. But yeah, I think Jeff Bezos, he's been friends for a while now with Ivanka and Jared, and I don't think he over-inserts some stuff. I think he really is just spending the rest of his money and enjoying his life. And I will say, did make somewhat of a sacrifice before this, why it doesn't feel as griftery as Mark Zuckerberg.
So this is a good point that she makes here. And I'm also going to show you, like, she's right on Zuckerberg. She's right to be ultra critical.
Feels to me is because Jeff Bezos notoriously took so much flack for having published that piece. He owns the Washington Post. He never really transformed the Washington Post beliefs. They were always left-leaning. But when ahead of the election, he said, we are not going to endorse a candidate. And he stopped the editorial staff from endorsing Kamala Harris and then published an op-ed explaining his position about how they're not taken seriously. I took that to be a tremendous, it took a lot of humility for someone of his financial stature to do that, to humble himself and to say.
Also, quick side note, that's when I discovered that Robert fucking Kagan was the editor of the Washington Post. And if you don't know who he is, I've talked about it before, but well-known neocon, the husband of Victoria Nuland.
We look like fools. We need to stop doing this. And this is why nobody believes us. And so I think I gave Jeff Bezos a plus in my book. And so, yeah, it's interesting to see what kind of a message that is signaling to have Mark Zuckerberg be in this very small circle of people. I'm not fond of it, but maybe some people are. I'll be interested to see your guys' comments on that.
So Candace just kind of letting you know how she feels about Mark Zuckerberg being in Trump's orbit. So this next clip is a little bit more of the inauguration parade. But in this one, she kind of talks about who didn't get invited to the inauguration. I'm gonna let Candace give you the tea here. She's gonna share the tea with you.
Also, something that is worth talking about is who was snubbed. Okay, so last night it made the rounds. So the story broke that President Zelensky was begging to be here because, you know, he's so busy. Oh, there he is in his military fatigues with our welfare queen. We got to put a crown on his head, our welfare queen. No one has done welfareism. No one has been more of a welfare rat than President Zelensky. And of course, he wants to be everywhere. I remember he begged to be invited to the Academy Awards, or was it the Grammys? And he attended one and didn't attend the other. I got, please let me go to the Oscars. I'm obviously facing a very serious war, and you see me wearing military fatigues all the time. Don't you believe me? And so what we are seeing is President Trump is sending a strong message that he's listening to people about.
If I was Trump, this is kind of a weird aside. I was just thinking about Sean Penn. Do you remember Sean Penn giving his Oscar to Zelensky a while back? And like, Sean Penn is totally grifting off the Ukraine war. He's got some NGO that's making a bunch of money off of it. But if Trump was a boss, what he would do is divert all the Ukraine funding to like LA, rebuilding LA, and then like put Sean Penn in charge of it or something. Anyway.
About how tired we are of being involved in these overseas conflicts by simply ignoring him, just ignoring President Zelensky. And that rumor, by the way, came from Don Trump Jr. He basically said, do we have the tweet from Don Trump? I don't know if it was a tweet or just a message that he sent, but that was trending last night. Yeah, here's Don Trump Jr. on Instagram. He wrote, the funniest part is that he asked for an invite like 3 times unofficially, and each time got turned down. Now he's acting like he decided not to go himself. What a weirdo. And he was responding to Newsweek, which published a piece from Zelensky where he said, I can't come to the inauguration, especially during the war, unless President Trump invites me personally.
Yeah, so Zelensky didn't get invited. So again, so far looking like Trump might actually deliver on the stuff that he promised. But let's keep watching. I got a couple more clips from this. The next one is you're gonna love Candace's take on Bill Clinton. Listen to this. Bill Clinton, ladies love Bill Clinton. What are you gonna say?
Clinton is walking in. Oh shoot. I don't want her to see me. Can she see me? Okay, I got a duck. I don't want her to see me. I do not want on that list. And she's with Bill Clinton. And I will say this. There's something still likable about Bill Clinton. I can't hate him. I can't. I don't know what it is. It's because he just seems happy all the time. And we know that their relationship is not real. And it's
because Bill Clinton has je ne sais quoi. He's like, hey, Candace, how you doing, sweetie? Bill Clinton's like up in that. Bill Clinton is up in that inauguration like, oh, there's a lot of good looking women here.
He's always been nice to everyone in their faces, whereas Hillary has been snipey and has been rude and has been dishonest and has really molded herself into such an unlikable character on the world stage. No one feels that way about Bill. So I'm not going to pretend to hate on Bill Clinton. It's just weird. I don't know. Do you guys feel that? The Bill Clinton effect versus Hillary, where you see...
I love it. Because Candace Owens is she's very religious conservative. So the fact that she's admitting that she likes Bill Clinton is pretty huge. And again, I think it's just because Bill Clinton is a ladies' man. Ladies love Bill.
Here and you're like, he's just as involved. But you're still kind of like, nah, okay, whatever. It's Bill Clinton. So they have just walked in. So I was not expecting that. I would imagine then what is going to happen now is Obama is probably going to walk in pretty soon. Oh, nope. First, we've got the Bushes. Again, Karen Pence not being there is quite strange. But we do have...
So there's a whole interesting little aside in this that, I don't really need to cover much more of this one. We can move on to the next clip. But apparently Michelle and Obama are on the verge of divorce, or Michelle and Barack. Sorry. They're both Obama. And so she kind of gets into that, Karen Pence, Mike Pence's wife, doesn't like Trump because, she thinks that he fomented an insurrection against and tried to have Mike. Don't even give me, I'm not even going to go into that garbage right now. Let's just move on. So there's a couple things that Trump says here that really stuck out to me. And this is the first one. This is kind of the first part of it. So we'll just listen to it and we'll talk about it.
Government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair.
So this is just so okay. I have to say, this inauguration speech is the speech I always hoped Trump would fucking give, because this is the argument that I've had with him the whole time. Is it's like I don't totally dislike the guy, I don't totally like the guy, but it's like he could so easily bring people together by just saying a couple choice words. You know what I mean? And I think in this speech he actually did it. And what I thought was really funny is I got a text from my family members, you know, when it was happening. And I remember my cousin's like, holy shit, I'm watching this Trump inauguration speech. And so then I went and looked, and I get the email from the New York Times, and the New York Times headline says something like Trump paints a grim picture of America in his inauguration speech. And it's like, yeah, compared to the picture that you guys have been painting, which isn't the real picture. You know, and I like some of the people that I run with, they're financially doing okay. So like they're not bad people, you know, but they just invested. And so they haven't felt the pain of the Biden era. They really haven't. So to them, it was like such a shock that Biden lost. They're just like, wow, I can't believe the country's racist, you know? And it's mind blowing to me, but you know, I think the Bernie people and anyone who's just like, we just want something different is happy to hear this. So let me let him finish, because no lies told. I mean, like, let me start this over, because honestly, this is absolutely fucking perfect what he says. Right
Today, our government confronts a crisis of trust.
Yes.
For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens.
If you remember, Bernie Sanders was running against the establishment, wasn't he? Until they fucking stomped.
All the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to.
Like, this sounds like something Ron Paul would say. Like, that is just like, this is the kind of thing. And again, it's like you would never hear that from a fucking Ted Cruz or one of these establishment, Mitt Romney, the establishment Republican or the establishment Democrat. But that is the reality that most people have been living with probably since Kennedy.
Protect our magnificent law-abiding American citizens, but provide sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally.
So this is the part I think is a little bit extreme, but like it's like, again, the argument I have with people is, you know, people are like, oh, well, dude, if you fucking get rid of the immigrants, the economy is just going to fall apart. It's like, yeah, if you listen to the fucking people that are taking advantage of immigrants for cheap labor, of course they're going to say that. They don't want to have to fucking pay people a living wage. And it's like, who knows? Like, at the end of the day, I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim to be an economist. What I do claim to know is that, like, everyone we've elected in the past to do something has fucking done nothing. So some kind of change, even if it's just like fucking break the whole system and retool it, is going to be good. Because, you know, so anyway, sorry to get sidetracked on that, but I just hate this. People buy this, like, fucking, the scaremongering right now is that, like, oh, the tariffs are going to be a price increase or whatever. No, he's got other levers to pull to make up for that shit. Like, he's talking about the External Revenue Service here, where they're going to have like a fucking agency that goes and gets the fucking tariffs, like collects on the money that these other countries owe for importing us. Like we really have kind of just been like the sloppy, like little sloppy whore of the world for the last like 50 years. It's like, oh, they'll come and fuck us up. You know, it's like, no, like, let's tighten it up a little bit. What's wrong with that? You know, and we can always adjust back in the other direction once things are better. You know, it's like, the reality is the world is a different place than it was 100 years ago. You know, when we were like, bring us your tired and your poor and all that shit. Like we wanted that then. Yeah, it's a different dynamic now. Like, we got a lot of people And I played this clip of Tim Dillon and Rogan talking about this in my last broadcast. But the reality is we need to be able to provide healthcare for our country. We need these services. And I think even the GOP realizes this now. But for us to do that, we have to have, an actual country. We have to have like borders, and we have to have like a verified citizenry, because we can't just fucking give it away to everybody. By the same token, it's a different dynamic when you go to, if you're an American and you go to Canada or you go to the UK, like they don't just turn you away from their healthcare system. Then you're not a taxpayer there. So we can have a system that accommodates people like that. But the point I'm making again is just that, like, we have been the sloppy bitches of the world for the last 50 years, and a tightening is long overdue. So let's keep listening to Trump here.
Entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders, or more importantly, its own people.
Yep.
Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly. And other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn from weeks ago without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. Don't taste me, bro! But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world.
Yep.
And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them.
So again, this is the part where the conservatives get a little granny on me, where it's like, oh, they're teaching kids to hate America. No, they're not. They're teaching kids the reality of that America is not perfect. Like, and we fucking, but there is also, I do think there is some truth to the idea that, like, the general consensus is to just frame us as the ultimate world's evil. When, let's be honest, for the last 20 years, you gotta have been, but it's not the people. It's not like we haven't tried to vote against it, and that's kind of what this reckoning entails a little bit. Like, we had our elected officials never did anything that the voters wanted, and that's a dynamic that has to change. And hopefully, it has changed a little bit now, despite everything they did to try to keep this guy out, and he gets into that anyway. Let's keep
all of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly.
Let's go.
My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over.
Yes. Let's go. Call him out by name, Trump.
Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history.
That is true.
And I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life.
Yep.
Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
Amen. And we still don't know anything about the shooter, by the way. They tried to kill this man twice. Twice, okay? Just got chills thinking about that. And he's standing on the stage right now, despite all of those odds. On the golf course in Pennsylvania. Look at Melania. She's looking at, she don't trust nobody. She's just giving the side eye to Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much.
Even Keith Olbermann.
I heart Donald Trump.
I don't trust anybody in that room but Melania Trump.
Keith Olbermann.
I heart Donald Trump.
Keith, what else do you heart?
I heart feces.
Those are my Keith Olbermann sound drops.
I heart porn star dick.
Keith Olbermann, what else do you heart?
I heart porn star dick.
All right. We got one more clip here of Candace and Trump. And this one, I think, again, this is one of the ones that, this is one of those things where I was like, this is the thing Trump needed to say. You know, he never really panders like this. And the thing is, it's because he's not a panderer. He's honest. He as much as rambly and kind of incoherent as he can sound sometimes. I do think for the most part, he just says, he speaks off the cuff. And so listen to this. This is actually really good. One of the high points, I think, of his speech.
Greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural.
Yo, we
here
now.
Importantly, we had
Stupid.
a powerful win in all 7 swing states. And the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true.
His dream was that people would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Let's listen to that again. That's great.
We'll strive to be a great honor in the years to come. And you have shown me with your. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true.
Also tell us who shot him. This would have been a great day to release the MLK files. You know who shot him, but, just as a formality, tell us who shot him.
Or tell us who shot him. Tell us who shot MLK Trump. She's like, we know who shot him, but let's just get it out there for the confirmation. All right. I had a bunch more stuff I wanted to show you, but I want to, this is kind of the icing on the cake. It's kind of a little bit more of a revisiting clip, but I wanted to talk about, I really just did this so I could put up this Photoshop I did of Malibu Kyle. I think it was Jimmy the other day who called him Malibu Kyle or Malibu Ken or something. And I just thought, wow, that is absolutely a perfect analogy for what this guy has become. But there's Dave Smith did kind of a response to Kyle and the dumb shit he said, and I didn't want to go back into this shit with Kyle, but we have to talk about this. So anyway, listen to this clip from Dave Smith's show where he talks a little bit about your boy Kyle.
Break his brain, and then look at that. He goes full MAGA. And you know what? That makes me look like a jackass because I was the one going in there, taking him at face value, acting kind, holding his hand and walking him through it like he was a toddler on these topics. And then
okay, I don't know if you remember this. I didn't have time to go dig up the clip, but the last time Kyle was on Rogan, he just like educated Rogan on how awesome Joe Biden is. Literally everything Kyle said in that interview is bullshit, dog shit, fucking garbage. And he's trying to act like he schooled Joe Rogan. And then Joe Rogan went MAGA and made him look bad. His entire audience is Democratic bots now. Has to be.
Wow, in retrospect, would you look at that?
All
you
right,
completely
just pause
flipped.
it here.
I mean,
no, Kyle. It makes you look bad because it makes you look like you lost the argument. It makes you look like maybe you were wrong about a lot of that stuff. And I'm sorry, but like
he did the universe such a favor by going on Rogan.
Yeah, right. Yes, you went on there and held his hand like a toddler and walked.
Suck your cap. Suck your cap. Suck your cap.
Walked him through these topics. In other words, you got invited on the biggest fucking show, and you went on to take advantage of that opportunity where Joe was open and gave you a platform and listened to what you had to say. And you said, because I've seen some of his episodes on there, you said a bunch of standard boilerplate left-wing things. That's what you did.
Yeah, they tried to argue a bunch of shit about the NLRB or some shit. Like Biden did something historic thing with the NLRB. How did that turn out? He also armed continuously a genocide that Trump's basically put an end to before he even took the oath of office. So, you know, I don't know how this guy gets away with this shit. Like how he still has an audience pretending like he's educating the public. This guy has absolutely no principles or values whatsoever. He's clearly just a DNC shill who I think what's so disappointing to me is I used to love Kyle. I used to take him seriously as a commentator and look up to him as a person. And you know, anyway, let me play a little bit more of this Dave Smith interview before we clock out here.
Spend some time on the show today responding to a clip that's been going around of Kyle Kulinski criticizing Joe Rogan
and showing off a new hair color.
And well, I think he's had that for a while at this point. Let me say, I guess before we get disclose these things, just because I feel like that's the responsible thing to do, to like be like, okay, well, look, here's where I'm coming from, and I'm certainly not without my bias when it comes to this topic. You know, obviously I'm friends with Joe, and I've been on his show many times. But full disclosure, he's made I think a couple videos of me over the years where it's like stuff we agree on, war for the most part, where he's just like been like, Dave Smith, you know, shreds this guy or whatever, and we've been cool. I did his show with his podcast that he hosts with Crystal Ball, who I like very much, and I enjoyed our conversation. So it's not like I'm not coming at this like I have anything against Kyle, but I did think that this warranted a response from us. So let's get into this clip a little bit. Let's start it off, and we'll give our thoughts.
Then you're a fake independent media. You're not
I just want to state for the record that I do have something against Kyle because he's a fake and a sellout, and he used to actually be an honest commentator, and now he's not an honest commentator. He's clearly has his views shaped for him by external figures. He's not saying what's on his mind. He's not giving honest commentary. He's what's the best word? Running cover. He's running cover for the Democrats as a progressive. Fuck you, Kyle.
Real independent media. And I'm now going to war because what we saw is a lot of these people like Joe Rogan, you know, I was there. I was on his show 4 or 5 times. He would sit there and nod in agreement when I would make anti-Trump arguments and arguments in favor of a left-wing worldview. Then 3 weeks later, Ben Shapiro would come on and say the exact opposite of me on every issue, and he would nod along in agreement, right? And so...
Wait, did he just say Ben Shapiro? Because I think he did, and I'm going to have to go way back in the vaults right now and play my Ben Shapiro remix for you. Here you go. Enjoy this.
Whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. Hold up. I said certified freak. 7 days of the week. Wet ass P word. Make that pullout game weak. Yeah, you effing with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you got for this wet ass P word. Beat it up, N-word. Catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top if I want to ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth. Look in my eyes. This P word is wet. Come take a dive. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like a lot more vulgar. Talk your S word, bite your lip, ask for a call while you ride that D word. This is, guys, this is what feminists fought for. You really ain't never gonna F him for a thing. He already made his mind up before he came. Now get your boots and your coat for this wet ass P word. Pay my tuition just to kiss me on this wet ass P. Right, so P word is female genitalia. This is what the feminist movement was all about. It's not. It's not really about, you know, women being treated as independent, full, rounded human beings. It's about wet ass P word. And if you say anything differently, it's because you're a misogynist. You see.
He knows a thing or two about wet ass P word. I had some other stuff I wanted to cover today, but I'm gonna cut out at this point. I think I've wasted enough of your time with my commentary. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy. I'm optimistic about the coming Trump turn. And let's just, before we go, one last South Park sound drop for you.
Well, fuck you, Kyle. I don't want to go to your faggy birthday party anyway. I'd rather hang out at home than have to be around you and your Jew mom for a day.
Like and subscribe, all that shit. You'll see me back, if not tomorrow, Friday in the morning. We're going to try to do this almost daily, like the title suggests. So thanks again for jumping on with me. And please jump in the comments. Tell me when I'm wrong. Educate me on European politics. I definitely need to talk to some people about what's going on in like the UK and Sweden and stuff right now. Because, you know, we get some idea, but you know, it's always shaped by some kind of interest and stuff. So anyway, keep it real out there, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Like and subscribe, all that junk. You know, I don't say it enough. Follow my shit. I need the support. Also, before I go, one more thing. I'm going to re-upload my piece on the fall of late night television because it was relentlessly censored. It started to kind of take off. It got about 650 views. And then some jackass, probably like, you know, I don't want to get into it. And anyway, they shut it off for copyright. So I'm going to retool it so they can't sting me for copyright. And I'm going to repost it. And you will see it up soon. Thank you for tuning in. I love y'all. And we'll see y'all soon. Till next time.